So juvenile Huntington's disease or juvenile onset Huntington's disease is when someone develops symptoms of Huntington's disease before the age of 21. And there's a number of issues related to getting a diagnosis, particularly for pediatric patients or those under 18. This is usually driven by the nature of the ethical issues of testing a minor before they have the capacity to make that choice themselves. The early symptoms that could be coming out as that could lead a doctor to believe that they have juvenile HD can be a bit ambiguous at that stage. So there may be behavioral neurodevelopmental changes that might be they might get a misdiagnosis of ADHD, and also the movement symptoms that are commonly associated with Huntington's and adult onset present very differently in these juvenile cases. They tend to be much more Parkinsonian, so you can get tremors and slowness of movement, bradykinesia, even seizures and things like that. So it's very different from the adult form. So a lot of our doctors our specialist Huntington's doctors are specialists in adult Huntington's disease. So even in our HD centers, there's a real lack of awareness for juvenile HD. And some of these doctors might never see a case in their whole career. And so we have gaps in the care pathway as well. So a child being seen by pediatric services, then translating that to adult services where the majority of HD specialist care is, there's a huge loss there. So having a tool that could tell doctors, okay, these symptoms could be a number of things, but the dad has HD, and we do this test and it tells us that there's also neurodegeneration happening. That could be really useful in terms of a screening tool before you do the genetic test, in my eyes. So I've measured this protein, neurofilament light, which has been shown in adult onset, as well as many other neurodegenerative diseases, to be elevated in the context of degeneration or damage to neurons. So we know now in healthy children that this protein does not change, and it's pretty stable across neurodevelopment. But adult onset, in the juvenile Huntington's disease patients, it was significantly elevated. So this was a small kind of number of patients because there's not that many cohorts of JHD, but it's has a lot of potential to being very clinically impactful for this population. So I'm hoping to take this forward and try and get larger cohort of juvenile onset HD cases to measure more numbers and look at blood neurofilament light further.